Alright trainers, this is TaeganAdventures here, bringing you another episode of Raid Royale. Now that the forces of nature are behind us, let us now shift our focus to the new generation of legendaries here, the Kalos legendaries, Xerneas, Yveltal, and soon-to-be Zygarde. Now, this is part of a two-part series focusing on the box art legendaries of Pokemon X and Y, Xerneas in this video here, and Yveltal in the next video. As you know, Xerneas is coming to Tier 5 raids in Pokemon Go, but first of all, let's give you a quick rundown of what Xerneas is like. So Xerneas is a pure fairy type and has pretty good stats here: 250 base attack, 185 base defense, and 246 base HP. Very good stats. It's a legendary Pokemon after all, but its move pool is anything but amazing. Unfortunately, it does not have any fairy type fast moves. It only gets tackle and Zen Headbutt for its fast moves. For its charge moves, Xerneas gets Moonblast, Close Combat, Mega Horn, Giga Impact, and Thunder. Now, by far the most useful charge moves for Xerneas are Moonblast and Close Combat, but all of its charge moves are 1-bar charge moves, meaning they'll take super duper long to charge. And given the fact that Xerneas doesn't have any fairy type fast moves, it's basically just a meh Pokemon. It's not outstanding like Rayquaza or like Zekrom, it's just meh because of the lack of a stab fast move. Like I said, Xerneas is a pure fairy type, meaning it is weak to steel and poison types, so close combat definitely helps cover for the steel weakness. Any steel types that are centered on Xerneas just have a hard time dealing with close combat. Close combat having a high base power, coming off such a high attack stat on Xerneas is definitely going to wreak havoc on your steel type. So yeah, just be careful of close combat Xerneas here. But apart from that word of caution, your steel and poison types will do the work here. Unfortunately, there aren't a lot of poison types here in Pokemon Go, especially good poison types. So most of these counters here will be steel types. And of course, how can we not mention Metagross? Yes, Mega Metagross exists, but the Mega form has not been released yet, so let's just address the non-Mega Metagross here. With its Community Day move of Meteor Mash and its fast move Bullet Punch, and not to mention its high attack stat, Metagross sure has the DPS here. Plus, its secondary Psychic typing means that it resists Xerneas' close combat, so it need not worry about super effective close combat, and of course, being a steel type means that it resists a whole host of other moves as well. If you want a more bulky option, you can always go with Dialga. I know Dialga is part dragon type, but being a steel type, it negates Dialga's weakness to fairies, and coupled with its legendary stats, Dialga is sure to do a lot of damage in the long term. Looking at its TDO, it's pretty decent here. Dialga is a pretty dominant steel type, especially in the Master League. Let's not forget in gyms and raids too, Dialga is a monster. Basically, Dialga is a bulkier version of Metagross with Meteor Mash, clocking in at a similar DPS but offering very good TDO here. Next up we have Jirachi with Confusion and Doom Desire. Now Jirachi is a mythical Pokemon, so you can only get one of it in the entire game. I wouldn't really recommend you use a Jirachi because of its limited access. I'd much rather use a Dialga or a Metagross since they're much more easily accessible, but if you don't have your Metagross or Dialga, Jirachi is definitely a safe bet here. Excadrill, a Gen 5 Pokemon, also a very good pick here. It's pretty much a glass cannon, really high attack, but very low defense stat here. Of course, it still has very decent TDO, not gonna lie, but its DPS is pretty lackluster since it's going up against such an offensive powerhouse. I don't think you want to send in such a frail Pokemon here. Definitely opt for a Metagross, it's got much better DPS than Excadrill here. But anyway, if you want to use an Excadrill, Metal Claw and Iron Head is your best bet. Honorable mentions go out to Scizor and Lucario here because, let's be honest, when those two are so badass, how can I not include Scizor and Lucario here on the list? I mean, admittedly, Lucario's DPS is kind of on the low side, but anyway, just for more options, I'll be including Scizor and Lucario on this list. As for the poison types, there are literally only 3 viable poison types to counter Xerneas, which are Mega Gengar, Mega Venusaur, and Mega Beedrill. Yes, they're all Megas, so it's literally pick your poison on this one. Pun very much intended. So it's either Mega Gengar with Lick and Sludge Bomb, or Shadow Claw and Sludge Bomb, Mega Venusaur with Vine Whip, Sludge Bomb, or Razor Leaf and Sludge Bomb, or if you want a more glass cannon pick, Mega Beedrill with Poison Jab and Sludge Bomb. Now, given Xerneas' stats is quite an offensive powerhouse, so I would recommend around 5 to 7 high-level trainers, and by that I mean trainers above level 35, to beat a Xerneas raid in Pokemon Go here. Now, of course, if you don't have the right firepower or the right Pokemon to bring in on this fight, recruit more trainers to help join you on this fight. But, you know, given that we're in some very troubling times right now, use a remote raid pass if you have to, and of course, stay safe, wear a mask, practice your social distancing, observe your own local government policies on how you can protect yourself from the Rona. Last but not least, let's go over Xerneas' 100% IV CPs. Now, in non-weather boosted conditions, which is any weather apart from cloudy weather, Xerneas' max CP is 2130, and in weather boosted conditions, which is cloudy weather, its max CP is 2703. Now, I would love to comment on how Xerneas would do in the Go Battle League, but given that it has such a trashy move pool, I don't think it'll do very well, especially with Dialga and all those other steel types in the meta. I don't think Tackle and Send Headbutt are enough to even leave a dent on those steel types. Even if it had a close combat, I don't think that would even be enough. Plus, close combat is a very, very slow charging move. I may be wrong, things may change with Xerneas' move pool, but until then, Xerneas is stuck with a really bad move pool. Anyways, that's going to be it for this video. Stay tuned for the next video when Yveltal hits the scene in Tier 5 raids. But until then, I will be signing off. This has been TaeganAdventures. You have just watched Raid Royale. Peace out.